You're listening to Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk Mississippi, covering Mississippi State sports like nobody else. With Sports Talk Mississippi's Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk of On3 Sports. Now get ready for Thunder and Lightning.
This is Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk here with you on a Friday morning. Thanks for joining us here at supertalk.fm or wherever it is that you get podcasts from. We appreciate you guys out there, our great listeners, especially our servicemen and women out there taking care of us. I want to thank our sponsors over at Strange Brew Coffee House and Churn and Spoon Ice Cream. Start your day the right way with a trip to the drive-thru over at Strange Brew Coffee House here in Starkville or at Brupolo over in Tupelo. Be a little weird, Robbie, if Brupolo was in Tinsley.
That would be a little weird.
Wherever you are in our great state, you can enjoy Strange Brew Coffee each and every morning. It's just a click away at strangebrewcoffeehouse.com. Go ahead and continue to send in your pictures and your locations, and we're going to pick a winner on our Monday podcast. You got to say, hey, Brian Hadad, Robbie Faulk, Strange Brew Coffee House, their Twitter handles, the Twitter handles. It'd be a little weird if Brupolo was in and wherever you're from. And we'll pick a winner and get your address, and we'll send off probably a little prize pack for you from Strange Brew Coffee House.
Somebody just completely ignored me yesterday on there. Just didn't even mention my name.
Ole Miss fan. She's not winning nothing.
You're out.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Ole Miss fans can't win, but Ole Miss fans can't win. All right, you've won enough this year. You get nothing.
No coffee for you. Well,
No.
You can get coffee. You just got to pay for it.
She also called it Bruford.
Well, she was making her own name.
No, absolutely not. No chance.
Only we get to make the names.
That's right. The Mississippi Beef Council wants to remind you that beef, it is what's for dinner. If you're cooking out this weekend, some fantastic weather to do it in. Nothing beats the sizzle of beef on the grill. Remember, every time you get this is the best part about beef. When you eat a steak, you help the Mississippi beef industry. Nearly 15,000 farmers, nearly $500 million a year of agribusiness being done in this state due to beef. If you don't want to cook it, let somebody cook it for you. Go grab a steak at one of our awesome steakhouses around the state of Mississippi and vote for your favorite at the Mississippi Beef Council's Facebook page. Your favorite steakhouse, your favorite burger joint. It's all right there. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Thanks to our friends, the Mississippi Beef Council. College Corner, collegecornerstore.com is the place to find the maroon and white merchandise that you are looking for. This holiday season, you're going to put it under the tree. Get it at College Corner. 2 locations to serve you in the Jackson area. Ridgeland by Fleet Feet, Flowood by the Half Shell, or you can shop online, collegecornerstore.com. Restaurant Tyler is Starkville's flagship restaurant. Lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch, the best meal in town is always at Restaurant Tyler. If you are a blue plate person, and if you live here in the South, you probably are, the best one in town is at Restaurant Tyler. Fried chicken, fried catfish, hamburger steak, pork chops, they've got it all. Great selection of veggies, cornbread, everything a Southern man needs to get through the workday. It's right there at Restaurant Tyler. For the best lunch in the city of Starkville, it's at Restaurant Tyler. Priority One Bank, 16 locations to serve you throughout central Mississippi. Let PriorityOneBank.com be your guide. They'll show you not only where they're located, but they're going to show you how they can help you invest, manage your money, and prepare for the future. Now more than ever, it's so important that when you have questions about your money, questions about your banking, that you can get answers. You don't want to have to be on hold. You want to get a level of service that you can only get at a place like Priority One Bank. Let Priority One Bank make you their priority. Today is Friday. That means we're doing the 3 Ps, preview, playmakers, and predictions. That's brought to you by the good folks over at Sanders Rentals. Football season's almost over, but baseball season will be here before you know it. And if you need a place to stay for the weekend in Starkville, don't spend the big bucks at these hotels that cram you into a little room. Get you a full game day cottage with Sanders Rentals just off of campus, a short drive back to the MSU campus, all the amenities and a lower cost. It's a win-win in every sense of the word. Call Will Sanders today at 662-769-1412. Let him know the dates you're looking for. He's got available locations for you. You need to go in. You don't need to do the hotel thing. You don't have to spend all this money on these 2-night minimums. You can spend a lot less and get a lot more with Sanders Rentals. Mississippi State and Missouri, Robbie. We talked about it yesterday. By the way, I just want to point out, it is a Pittsburgh Steelers game, but you are wearing Missouri colors.
It's clearly Pittsburgh.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro.
I can't help they copy the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, I grant you that.
I'm sure Missouri was already had their school colors before Pittsburgh was even a team,
but we're just going with this.
They're copying them.
Okay. We talked about it yesterday. There's a sense of optimism this weekend that we really haven't felt much this year, maybe since the Arkansas game. I felt like the Arkansas game hammered a lot of optimism out of Mississippi State fans. That was a game that going in, State fans felt, hey, we're playing better. Maybe we can get a win here. And not only did you not get the win, you got embarrassed. You play UMass the next week, and I mean, it's UMass, and you don't really take anything from it. Tennessee had some moments where you're like, oh, something's happening here, but by and large, it was the same script we've seen the past few weeks in SEC play. So now we've come to Missouri, a team that I think the reason State fans are the most excited are two things. Missouri has been inconsistent this year. Even in victory, they haven't been overly impressive. And two, you're hopeful that with the playoff out of reach for them, that they might have a little bit of a downturn, that they're just ready for the season to be over. The opposite could also be true. They could want to bounce back and say, hey, look, we were the best team not in the playoff this year. Or we should have been in, but we didn't take care of our business. They want to be able to make that case going forward. What do you take from all this, Robbie? If on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your optimism level for this game?
I don't know, like a 4, 5, I'm like halfway.
But let's clarify that. What was it for the Tennessee game?
A 0.
So 5 times more optimistic.
Yeah, that's a huge jump.
That's a big jump.
It's just the fact that we discussed it yesterday. We just haven't seen Mississippi State. Like, we've seen them fairly close, but not like in position to win a game in SEC play.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't felt like in the second half, late fourth quarter, Mississippi State could win any of these games. And that's kind of the issue that I have right now is like I can't, in my mind, go to Mississippi State winning an SEC game because they haven't shown the ability to do it. And being completely, basically run off the field against Arkansas, that really dampened my thoughts on Mississippi State being able to grab one of these wins. When we got to, Georgia and we see Mississippi State's in the game, you are confident that the Bulldogs are going to find a way to win a game or two in SEC play.
Mm-hmm.
We felt like maybe they could slip up on A&M. We really felt good about Arkansas. We really felt good about Missouri. And then, we were thinking maybe Ole Miss loses a game or two, and who knows where they're going to be. Well, everything's kind of, worked itself out. Ole Miss looks like if they win this weekend against Florida, they look destined for the playoffs. And, Missouri is a beatable team, but I just don't have that confidence. So it's just, things are just really like State desperately needs this game. They desperately need this game because things are just dead with this football program right now. There's no juice in recruiting. They're offering nothing but junior college players. It just doesn't look great right now.
I wish next week wasn't the Egg Bowl week because we're going to focus on that and we'll do some historical stuff and things of that nature. But this JUCO thing is mind-boggling to me. It really is something to see Mississippi State like it's 2001 all over again and offering 10, 12 JUCO kids in an era where you can get kids out of the portal to do that. It reeks of desperation in my opinion.
What my hope is on this for Mississippi State is that they realize that they can't fix their issues right now, like roster wide with the high school class,
mm-hmm.
and they're expecting to have to recruit over some of the players on the defensive side of the ball,
mm-hmm.
and they're backfilling it with JUCO players to where the gap is not as large.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to the portal to get impact players. That's the hope. That's best case scenario right here because this is kind of scary to watch Mississippi State just throwing out junior college offers. I mean, it looks like they're going to bring in double digit guys from the junior college,
mm-hmm.
and I don't look at these junior college guys and say, this is Montez Sweat, this is Jonathan Abram.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that with some of these. I see some good, solid players, and maybe, if they're able to go to the portal and get an impact guy on the edge and an impact guy at safety, guys like that, corner, if they're able to go out there and get those guys, I don't have a problem with these junior college offers, because I don't think that the high school class is going to be able to help you as quickly as somebody that's already been in college for a year or two. So it's not alarming if that's your plan. These are going to be the guys that kind of fill the gaps for you and give you a little more depth. And like you're going with these guys instead of Kedrick Bingley Jones like you did last year, and then you're going to go get a guy that was maybe an 8-sack guy in the group of 5, or somebody that is real promising and power forward that you pull out. It's just like right now there's just no juice with this program at all, and I don't really know what Jeff Lebby's plan is. The rumblings about just sticking with your defensive coordinator when you're having a historically bad season, that's very alarming to me. That's very scary. That shows that Jeff Lebby doesn't really feel like Coleman Hutzler is a problem for them at all, and that's concerning. When you have a defense that's ranked last in the country, the defensive coordinator is part of the problem.
No question.
Some form or fashion, he is part of the problem. And if you're willing to stick with that for another year, that gives that I lose a lot of hope in what Jeff Lebby can do as head coach, and his thoughts on this as well. I mean, it's just it's alarming right now. We'll have a lot of answers after the season very quickly. Mm-hmm. We'll kind of know where things are headed. We'll know if Mississippi State's going to have a chance to get talent out of the portal. We'll know if Mississippi State's going to have a different plan at defensive coordinator. All that will be answered. There won't be any rumors and innuendo, as Conrad Thompson says. So, we'll see how it plays out. But right now, they just desperately need something good to happen, and this weekend would be great.
The stat that Barton Charlie rolled out, that, what was it? There are 50 players in the SEC, or is it 50 players nationally, that have more sacks than Mississippi State does as a team. Let me read this stat so I can be 100% accurate on it. In SEC-only games, there are 50 so this is in the conference. There are 50 players individually who have more sacks than Mississippi State does as a team in league play.
It's been embarrassing.
Well, in league play, how many sacks does State have? Like 2?
Yeah, I think so. 2 or 3. Yeah, it's been embarrassing. I mean, it's to put a defense like this on the field is absolutely embarrassing. And you're putting $1 million into this defensive coordinator, and even more than that into the defensive staff, and literally, one of us could go out there and have the same results of being last in the country defensively. That's kind of where you are right now. Pay me $1 million, I will go do it. I will finish last in the country defensively. If you pay me $1 million,
$500,000, you can save $500,000.
$250,000, I'll do it.
I'll do it for $100K.
And we've talked ad nauseum about this. It is a talent deficiency issue for sure. There's
but not this much.
You can be able to scheme something together to put your players in better position to go make plays, to get sacks. The fact that they have 2 sacks in SEC play is just, I can't believe it. I've never seen a Mississippi State defense this bad.
And when you look at this Missouri offense, let's try to get back on a little bit of track here as far as the preview goes. Pretty balanced. Runs the ball for 165, throws it for 220. Nate Noel has been a good add for them out of the portal. He's sitting just under 700 yards, only 3 touchdowns on the year. Brady Cook, has missed some games this season, but he's completing 64% of his passes. He's 8 touchdowns to 2 picks. If he was, if he had been healthy, he'd probably be up well over 2,000 yards at this point. And, from a toughness and a leadership standpoint, we talked about him yesterday. We really like what he's got to give from that aspect. And then, there's Luther Burden. They've got playmakers at each position. And Burden, interestingly enough, is not their leading receiver in terms of yardage. He's second. He is leading the team in catches, but he is second in yardage behind Theo Weiss. Theo Weiss is one of the most underrated players in the SEC. 47 catches, 637 yards on the year, 3 touchdowns. He's a really good football player that doesn't get – I think because Burden's on the other side of him, Weiss is a top-tier SEC receiver. He's really, really good. This matchup is strangely enough, this game features 2 of the top receivers in the conference in terms of catches with Burden and Kevin Coleman from Mississippi State. The difference, obviously, is that I think that the offensive line is a little bit better with Missouri. It's struggled at times this year, but it's better. And then the other side of the ball, obviously, defensively, Missouri has been pretty good this year. Just giving up 20 points per game, only giving up just a shade over 300 yards a game. They've been pretty good this year. At the end of the day, Robbie, when I look at this game just from 1,000 feet, I think it's just going to go the way that every other SEC game has gone for Mississippi State. They'll put some points on the board. They'll have some moments here and there, but at the end of the day, they just won't get enough stops.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be the big factor here. I'm just looking at what opponents have done against Mississippi State's defense. 211 for 297 passing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the completion percentage for these teams, and you probably go back to UMass and Eastern Kentucky and find a lot of those incompletions, if I had to guess. It's been crazy to see what the opposing team has done against Mississippi State, and now you got a guy who's been really good during his college career throwing the football, and he's got 2 really good receivers out there. I think they're going to try to throw the football around against Mississippi State, and it's going to be up to State to try to get the ball, turn the ball over and give your offense a chance. I mean, it's really going to boil down to State's efficiency on the offensive side of the ball, because I just have no faith in this defense consistently getting stops.
Yeah.
Now they have in some games, and they've, the Tennessee game, I thought they did an okay job of getting off the field. They were put in bad positions at times. It's just kind of the nature of being a bad team. When you actually do something good on one side of the ball, it seems like the other side of the ball doesn't let you flourish. And that's what's happened with Mississippi State. When the defense has done good things, Georgia, they get an interception, and they can't do anything with it, maybe kick a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown. When the defense does give you an opportunity, the offense has to take advantage of it. And that's kind of the key for them in this ball game. I think the offense has to be as efficient as it's been this year. And if it is, I think they have a shot. I do think that the defense will be able to get some stops, because I just, Missouri's kind of lacked some explosive plays recently. Mm-hmm. So, that could play into State's advantage. They haven't been humming like they should. I mean, this is an offense that last year I thought was really good, and this year they've shown some spurts. But with Cook kind of being in and out injured, I think it's hurt them a little bit.
And although Noel's been good, he hasn't been as good as Cody Schrader was for them a season ago when he led the SEC in rushing. That guy was just a revelation. So you got me curious. So here they are. But game by game passing completion. Eastern Kentucky actually wasn't bad. They're 22 of 38. So that's 11 out of 17. So that's a close to 60%. I think it's like 56%, something like that. Arizona State was only 10 of 20. They didn't throw the ball very much in that game, though. Of course, we all know what happened in that game. They ran the ball for 300 yards. Toledo was 23 of 28, and I remember that really accurately because coming into the game, the quarterback for Toledo had only completed like 48% of his passes.
Yeah.
And then he completed 70-plus against State.
Yeah,
Florida was 26 of 28. You realize how difficult that is? Like, that's tough.
And they were rotating quarterback.
Yeah.
Did Lagway even throw an incompletion in that game?
I don't think he did. I think both incompletions were from Mertz.
True freshman on the road in the SEC didn't throw an incompletion.
Arch Manning was 26 of 31.
Ooh.
Georgia, they were 36 of 48. 2 picks in that game, but they still, that's still.
Those 6 incompletions? Like that weren't interceptions?
No, 12 incompletions in that game.
Oh, yeah, 36 of
48. But that's still over 60%, well over 60%.
And threw for 400 yards.
459. Yeah.
Woo!
Texas A&M was 15 of 25. So I'm going to do some math. That's 3 out of 5. That's 60%. Arkansas, Taylon Green, you remember he was SEC and National Player of the Week, 23 of 29. UMass,
He looked
17
awful against Ole Miss the next week.
Yeah, 17 to 29 for UMass. And then Tennessee was actually not great throwing the ball once Nico went down. They were 13 of 20, not 21 in the game. So not a great passing. So they're getting better.
The other teams just aren't playing as well.
Yeah, that's all it is. So
it's just,
and as you mentioned, the numbers add up to 211 of 297. I can't find the national stats in front of me, but I'll bet my bottom dollar it's no better than like 125th out of 133. There's no way. So that's just,
and like a lot of that goes, I think all of Mississippi State's issues go back to the fact that they cannot get pressure.
Yeah.
You're allowing, first of all, you're allowing a clean pocket for the quarterback more often than not. And secondly, the play is extending beyond the first coverage of your defensive backs. Your defensive backs are able to get off to a good start on the play. They have a guy covered. The longer the play develops, the pocket moves or the receiver's allowed to move and try to get open, it's a lot tougher for a defensive back to continue to cover. Mm-hmm. So I think the pressure up front is the biggest issue for Mississippi State this year. They just have not been able to get to the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, and allow their defensive backs to do their job. I mean, it's people talk about the defensive backs have bad coverage grades. A lot of that goes to the fact that they're having to cover for 5-6 seconds.
Nobody can do that. Nobody.
It's hard to do.
We've talked about it for years. We're like, if you can't cover, you better be able to blitz. And
that's why, I can't put everything into these PFF grades.
Right.
I've seen PFF grades where my eyes told me that this guy didn't have a good game, and they actually did from the grades perspective.
Right.
But it doesn't tell the whole story. And I like analytics. I agree with them, but I don't think that tells the whole story. You can't tell me that this defensive back's the worst player on the defense just because his grades are the worst, when I can see with my own eyes that some of the worst players on the defense are up front. They're not getting pressure. They're not making the quarterback uncomfortable. And in turn, it's putting a lot of pressure on that back end to make plays. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that's a fair assessment to say that the defensive backs are the issue when you're having to cover, like I said, for 5 or 6 seconds. It's like these quarterbacks just have forever back there to make a play.
And it's not even where they're getting under pressure and they're able to escape pressure. They're just standing in the pocket for the most part. So it's just
sad to watch. Like,
really
the defensive lineman's just getting stood up because there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
Being blocked by 5 linemen.
But even when State blitzes, they're not getting pressure. They're not. I mean, they're bringing 6 guys sometimes and they're not getting through. So
yeah, even when they have numbers, they can't do it. It's crazy.
It's really been something to watch. I'm glad I only have to watch it for 8 more quarters. All right, let's move into the rest of the show. That's brought to you by the good folks over at Pip Printing and Signs. Reliable service for every business need. When you need to get the message of your business out there, you need to do it with printing. That's what gets people in the door. That's what gets people excited about what you're offering. You can't do it if you don't work with the best, and that's what Pip Printing and Signs is offering you right now. Plus, if you're a Mississippi State fan, we've mentioned it so many times before, if you sign up with Pip Printing and Signs, 10% of your deal goes straight to the Bulldog Initiative in your name. Now you're a Bulldog Initiative business, and you didn't spend any extra money. You just spent what you're spending on printing each and every month. Call Cam Baker today. Tell him you heard about him on Thunder and Lightning and say, what can you do for me? Put together a plan for me, and you're going to be impressed with the results. Call him at 601-499-5216. When you need printing, call Pip today. Two Brothers Smoked Meats in the heart of the Cotton District is the place to find the smoked Southern soul food that you are looking for. Robbie Faulk and I are going to try to get there eventually. I don't know. I feel like he's abandoned me a little bit, to be honest with you.
Don't throw me under the bus.
I don't know what to say anymore. It's okay, I guess.
Don't throw me under the bus. Yeah, you haven't set up a date. This is all on you.
I tried to set one up for today.
But you gotta go. You gotta.
We could have figured something out. But I'm just saying, it's fine. It's fine. I'll go eat there eventually, and I'll enjoy it. It's awesome. I love
You
eating
can
there.
build your
especially
own
with
pork rind nachos.
I like going there with my friend Robbie, but it's okay. I like going to the older brother with Robbie too. We haven't been in a while. It's fine. It's not a big deal or anything. Maybe Joel would want to go. I don't know. Uh, we'll see. See what
Maybe
happens.
Bob.
If Bob was in town, he'd love to go.
I'm
Bob would
sure.
love the older brother. He would be a big fan. Plus, it's very nostalgic for him to go back into the old Two Brothers location.
Yes, I know for a fact he would enjoy the older brother.
Yes, no question. So, Two Brothers Smoke Meats, the older brother, two of the best restaurants in Starkville, right next door to each other, right there in the Cotton District. I'm not that sad. It's fine. Great products, great service. Every business likes to promise it to you. They deliver it to you at Advantage Business Systems. That's what they've been doing for 50 years.
50.
50. So when you need new technology for your business, you need to give Advantage Business Systems a call. They will take care of everything for you, hook you up with a great name brand item at a great price. But best of all, you know that when you need service after the sale, it's going to be there for you at Advantage Business Systems. That's how they've been able to stay open for 50 years. They take care of their customers. That's the receipt. If you're like, how does a business stay open for 50 years? Because they take care of their customers. Simple as that. 601-362-9192, or you can visit them online, absms.com. Find out how Advantage Business Systems helps your business do business. Before you go to games this fall, well, it's almost winter now. Before you go to the Hump, before you go to Duty Noble, before you go to Davis Wade, anything, you need to go to Maroon & Co. Starkville's best place to get Mississippi State gear. They've got more than anybody else. They've got stuff you cannot find anywhere else. Everybody else kind of the same for selection for polos and pullovers. Not at Maroon & Co. They got stuff you cannot find anywhere else. And we've got a chance to save you a little money. Thunder15 is our promo code. Use that today, and you can get 15% off any regular price item. Some exclusions do apply. It's available in-store or online. Before you go to the games, you need to go to Maroon & Co. Playmaker time, Robbie Faulk. Who you got on the offensive side of the ball?
I'm going Kevin Coleman. Could be his last home game at Mississippi State if things go well for him. He gets drafted or whatever. I think he's going to go out in a big way. I think he's going to be. You look at this matchup, and Luther Burden is obviously getting the headlines, and so is Theo Weiss too. He's the guy that I think is going to want to prove something this week, and he's going to want the ball in his hands. He's going to want to make some plays. I think he can have a big game for Mississippi State, and you need him to in a game where I think State's going to have to score a lot of points.
But Coleman, to me, has kind of become sort of like the Dak Prescott. Like, I just expect him to do well. He's going to have 5 or 6 catches. He's going to have 60, 70, 80 yards. He's kind of due for a big one. He hasn't had a 100-yard game, I think, since Texas A&M. So he's due for a big game, due for a touchdown as well. So that's a good choice. I loved what I saw from State's running game last time out against Tennessee. I want to see them build upon that. So I'm going to go back to Devon Booth. Boy, I feel like he's starting to finally get into his groove. Unfortunately, there's only 2 games left in the season for him, and next week he plays a fierce defense. But you're starting to see why Mississippi State wanted him out of the transfer portal. He was really good 2 weeks ago against Tennessee. I think he needs to be really good for Mississippi State again. Needs to be over 100 yards. State's path to victory is having the kind of rushing game they had against Tennessee and having the kind of passing game they had against A&M, Arkansas, Georgia. They can combine those two, they can win this game. So Booth has got to be a guy to keep an eye on. He needs to be there. Do we dare take a defensive playmaker?
Nah.
All right. I mean, shout out to Isaac Smith though. Connerly Trophy final.
He's like the permanent quarterback.
Yeah.
Where like he's the quarterback on both teams.
Yeah, Isaac Smith. Sure.
Isaac Smith's your playmaker on defense every week.
All right. Who's your X factor?
I don't know, Mario Craver.
Okay.
We had that.
Hadn't heard much from him. Yeah.
I think State's going to have to hit some big plays in this game, and I think he's going to need to make a big play to give him a chance to win.
So mine's going to be there's going to be like a little catch to it, right? Mine's Michael Van Buren, but it's going to be as a runner. Need something. Last week, Lenoris Sellers, some of the QB run stuff he was able to do is what kept drives alive for South Carolina against this Missouri defense. Sellers had a massive game last week. I think he was like 60 yards rushing, 350 yards passing, just dominated them. And now Van Buren's a different kind of runner. He's not that physical presence that Sellers is, but State needs him to be in the positive side of things. Again, I mentioned the running game. They don't need Van Buren to be sitting at like 7 carries for 9 yards because he got sacked 3 times. They need him at like 7 carries for 40 or 50 yards where he was able to get some positive plays. We haven't seen as much QB run, and I know why. All right, it's because they don't want to go down to the third string quarterback, so they've been a little bit more careful with that. But this offense is at its best when the QB gives you something in the run game. I think this might be a week to finally see that. What's your prediction?
I think State covers in this game, and it would not totally shock me to see them win this game if they can get a few plays go their way on the defensive side and get some momentum early. I'm just not quite ready to pull the trigger on that. So I could see it going either way, but I'm going to predict Missouri wins. I'm going to say 33-27.
I'm going to go. I think this game is going to play out the way every other Mississippi State game has played out thus far in SEC play. State will be in the game at times. They'll be able to put some points on the board, but in the end, they just will not get enough stops. 41-27 Missouri is my final score prediction. That I just don't see it happening. When we meet again.
Purgatory. It's not even hell. It's purgatory.
You're right. You're right. All right, we got post game, obviously. Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk YouTube. Talking Dogs on 3, Maroon and White Daily, YouTube. Check that out. When we meet again, I want you to look me in the eye. Look at me right here. Look, see right here. I don't give a damn what the records are. I don't. Your mind will be right when we meet again. It is that time of year. Get on board. I'm not saying anything's going to happen. I'm just saying do it. Don't. I see you there. I see you trying to get your mind right.
This game doesn't even matter.
It
doesn't
the only
matter.
way we can survive. We got to stand together.
Who cares about football anyway? It's basketball season.
I agree with that. So. All right, guys. Talk to you again on Sunday. Until then, for Robbie Faulk, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Thunder and Lightning here on Super Talk, Mississippi.